Hi guys, it's Belle here and it is time for me to work on day 15 in hashtag the Oddtober25 challenge created by April over at Pink Oddbird and Priscilla at Release Crafting. As always, links to their channels will be down below, so go and check those out. And today's one, I don't really know how it's going to go. I haven't got a clear picture in my head and I don't want it to be too complicated. I don't know. We're just going to have a gentle crafting day, I think, today, and then see how it turns out. So we had just had the yearbook. We found the room with the bookcase. We've found a yearbook in the bookcase and realized that the three people, my relative who left me the house, the smiling man from the carnival and the witch from the woods, were all childhood friends, and they're the people who we've been seeing in their different ages. And now, day 15. I continue to explore the bookshelf. So this was my original bookshelf, and I find a small strange clock. I pick it up, moving the dials to 10:31, and suddenly the bookshelf begins to shudder and quake open. It's a secret passage. So if you remember on my original bookshelf tag, I actually added a little clock, and I did say there was a reason for that. And this is the reason. Now, I'm not going to specifically do something at 10:31. That's just going to be part of the story. But the first thing I need to do is get my alcohol inks, a little bit of tin foil that I do it on, because we need to ink something up. The hands, I didn't have any in the colour that I wanted. So let me get a glove on. These are my wrong gloves, but never mind. And I'm just going to use alcohol ink in ginger. I'm actually going to turn it that way. I think it's got a piece of writing on there, so we're going to have it this way. Oh, no, same both sides. Doesn't matter. Okay, and we're going to just ink this. Just a little bit of alcohol ink. I just want it slightly coloured. I pick it up, move it around, a little bit coloured. This might not be dark enough. Right, so we're going to leave this to dry. It should be dry in a few minutes. So we're going to move that to one side. And then we're going to get started. Now, I've already done part of the tag. And the reason for this is I wanted the bookcase actually opening. So I've already made a version of the bookcase. Now the wood's slightly different because I didn't have enough of this wood left, but that doesn't matter. I've tried to replicate it as much as possible. We have the holes in the same places. I've used my pens. I've put all the different spider webs and that kind of thing, and the candles, although I forgot to cover the candles, so I need to do that. But you will see there is one thing missing on these shelves. Well, there's two things missing actually. Firstly, I need to add another word, but secondly, the clock's missing because I'm going to make the clock almost like a dangle. And secondly, the yearbook is missing. Because we've obviously opened the yearbook, we've probably put it down. So I took the yearbook out and I took the clock out, but I do need to add a little word. I forgot about that. And I have done wood on the back. As usual, I've used the same Crafted by Tony Textures 1 CBT 0015. And I also used the Marianne Designs Texture Crackle MM1629 because that's what I used. If you want to see how I did this, if you missed it, there is a previous video, like I said, where I made this tag, so you can go check that out. But I didn't want to do the same thing on camera. I've already added a hinge to it, so that will be on there like that. But I'm trying to work out, do I want it actually on the tag, which I think might work better actually if it's on the tag, or if I wanted it over the edge of the tag. That leaves quite the gap there, so I think I'm going to have it on the tag itself. So let's glue this down. So yeah, I did this off camera because I just thought you've already seen me do the bookcase, and I was a bit sad that I hadn't put the door on this bookcase to open into it. But I love how that tag looks, so I'm not going to add a door to it. But I thought, no, this one definitely needs the bookcase to open into the secret passage, because I'm not going to do much with the secret passage. So sorry if you're going to be disappointed by that, but I'm really not going to do much with it, I don't think. I'm already have ideas for the next few tags, next couple of tags, but not the secret passage one. How random is that? That's quite low down. That needs to come up. Why is it so low? Nope. Thank goodness I can take that off. Right, let's have these together. That keeps moving. Stop moving. Something so simple as this should not be causing me problems. But sometimes it is the simpler things that do cause us issues. Right, that's going to need time to really stick down. I'm going to just come on with my bone folder to really just press that in. So that is going to be our flip. That really does move. Right, I don't like that. Where is my glue? Let's just do the edge here. That way I can move that back. Okay, still a bit short on top. I think the last one might have been 2. I don't know. Either way, that's okay. That's where inking comes in, as I always say. Although I know not everyone likes to ink, so... Alright, we're going to press that, press that. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that a couple of minutes to just really adhere to that. Okay, now I'm pretty sure I'm going to want some plants coming down. So I'm going to grab some of those. Maybe I'll even put a pumpkin down there. Who knows? So I want some plants. Maybe that pumpkin, it's going to be darker. We may not put the pumpkin down there. It doesn't matter. I do really like that hand. I might cut that hand out, actually. We're definitely going to need some spider webs, because they've been following us all the way through all of this. I don't know about moths, or if I want, like, I was thinking bats. I was thinking some bats, so I might add some bats. We'll see. Another little one. Oh, I feel so bad using these ones. These are the acetate-y ones that Tim Holtz brought out a few years back. And I just don't have a lot. Well, I didn't have any left. But someone very kindly, I might use that, sent me a pack. And I feel bad using them up because, you know, once they're gone again. But also, I kind of want to use them. Might even put my eye on here again. We'll see. So let's grab some of these. We've got this pumpkin. Maybe I'll prefer that pumpkin. I don't know. I'm going to use that. So I'm just grabbing all these bits. Okay. Now hopefully this is ready onto here. All right. Now I'm thinking for the passageway, I'm literally going to make it look like there's a passageway. But I didn't know how to do it. I didn't want to use the same stone that I used for the basement exactly. So I pulled out some papers that I thought might work. I've also got some of these that I've already cut to size. And I kind of like this because it looks a bit like the walls being, what did they used to use? Like a lime wash on here, or paintwork, and you can see some of the black coming through. And then I was wondering about using some of this because it's quite dark, and I don't want it to be completely dark because I'm thinking I've probably got a candle, so I'm looking into it so it's not black. And also I want you to be able to see certain bits, so things like the spider webs and plants, if it's completely dark, that's not really going to work. I've also just thought this is going to end up a little bit chunky. Do you know what? It really doesn't matter. So yeah, so I'm thinking this one for the outer bit. I've already cut it to size. But yeah, I'm thinking this, and then we could kind of rip it up a little bit. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, probably to about, if I wanted it to be like a, just very roughly, kind of drawing, like an archway behind here. Try to see how wide this goes. Right, okay. And now we're just going to, I don't want to cut it because I feel like, although we could cut it and then kind of rough the edges up. Let's do that. Because I was going to rip and tear it, but then thinking about it, that might end up looking a bit too rough in places. So like this. It would go on like this. I just need to rub all of the pencil marks out now. And then we are going to, as I said, rough the edges up a little bit because it looks too perfect, guys. It just looks too perfect. I'm trying to see if I even want to cut more of that. Like this side. Maybe a little bit more. Into it. I mean, I could have just made it look like the wall in the basement. But firstly, they take a while to dry. I just had to pause then. Where I have my alcohol ink piece drying, one of my cats decided to jump up there and I was thinking, oh my gosh, they can't get alcohol ink on them. So I just had to pause and move it. Yes, so firstly, the wool takes quite a few days to dry and I don't have a few days. And secondly, I wanted to try something a bit different because not all of you are going to have texture paste, although I am going to use a piece of wool here. You're not all going to have texture paste. And so I'm trying to show how either with digitals, if that's what you've got, or scrapbook paper, how you can maybe do something a little bit different. I don't know, but I do want these walls looking quite roughed up. So we are going to ink these. I was thinking of coming on with some grey. I may actually use some of the Tim Holtz distress crayons. I don't know. Haven't really used them on much. I used them on the bathroom, I think, tags. But I did pull them out to use them because I have them. I only have the one set. I mean, it's all my kind of favourite colours anyway. The only thing it doesn't have in it is black, which I would normally use. But the other colours are my favourites. But actually, I need to do down this edge because it's going to be against there. I just don't use them enough. So here is our passageway. Really need to go down this edge because we're not going to be able to. And then let's bring in the black soot. And then, yeah, I need to think about... I do want to use this other one. It doesn't look black, but we can bring in a lot of black. And again, I want things to... stand out on it. So that would go there like that. And then I was thinking of bringing in like this. And because there's a wall stencil there, it almost looks like you're going into a passage and there's an extra wall here. Like that you're going to walk into this passage, but there's a wall there. Do you see where my mind's going with that? Does that make sense, guys? I'm hoping that makes sense. because that is quite defined. Yeah, I like that. So I'm just going to mark here because I need this cut at 6 inches, not 6 inches, at 3.5 inches. So I want this to cut roughly there. And again, this is just some paper I've made myself with lots of inks and stencils. My main problem is it's super thick because I did it on watercolor paper. So I'm wondering about just putting it a little bit behind, like cutting so that it fits onto there rather than using the whole thing. That's what I'm thinking. So, right, we have this. I'm just thinking about here and about here, and then we're going to get to here. I'm going to cut this bit. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. So yeah, and also it gives me this piece then that I can use for something else rather than it being stuck behind. And if you're thinking, well, what could you make out of that, Belle? You'll see in my next couple of tags. So, yeah. All right. Yeah, that really does look like a wall. I'm hoping it's picking up on camera how kind of defined that is. It wouldn't be perfect because obviously it is... what's the word I'm looking for, guys? It's in a dark passageway. Oh my goodness me. Right, that's going to have to go about there. Yeah, it's going to have to go about there. And I'm sticking this on first because... also going to bring in just a little bit of black soot because I want things hanging from the passageway. Let's bring in the black soot, especially there. I want it to look darker as we're going further into. So it'll be dark there, but it'll be much darker here. Does that make sense? So I've done a little bit of black there. This will also be lighter, but because this is meant to be like another wall into another part of the passage, I want this bit to look much darker. Whereas this bit, if I've opened it and there's candlelight and everything, is going to be brighter. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Right, there's stuff everywhere. Now I need to glue this down onto here. So I would always advise that when you have some spare time in between projects, or if you're having a day and you're thinking, oh, I don't really know what to work on, but I want to craft, but I'm not feeling too inspired, then take one of those days to make yourself some papers with your inks, oxides, whatever you have that you use, to do a load of die cutting so that you have stuff ready, especially if it's things you know you're going to use. Like I know I use a lot of flowers, a lot of spider webs, all that kind of thing. So if you know you use that stuff, take time to die cut all that out. Or if you want to alcohol ink some of your charms or something, take some days as prep days. And they're especially good, like I said, when they're those days where you're not feeling overtly inspired to craft, but you want to do something. So yeah, that's gonna, I like that a lot. That little bit. This almost looks like water damage, which I kind of like, and dust floating in the air, the white bits, you know, you're looking in and there's some dust. Now, I want to bring in a spider web because there's definitely spider webs in this passage. You just know that there is. I mean, there's not going to be a spider web, is there? So I want to bring in a spider web. You know, if you're walking through a passage, you are going to have to go through some spider webs. So I wanted some spider webs, but I also wanted like some flowers, maybe coming down places. I don't want to cover this bit of the wall up too much because I like it so much. So I want to be able to see that bit. So that to me it's, you know, could just put the spider webs. Let's have a look at that. Bit of a spider web there. We could bring it right down to the floor actually, to have it kind of from the floor to the wall. Could do a double spider web this way. No, that's blocking that little bit that I want to see the line. We're going to bring in another pumpkin just because, why not? And some bats. I want some bats. I mean, we're in a... I feel like they're too shiny, but I really want to use them, but they're too shiny. Oh no, that makes me sad. I was going to bring in a little glow-in-the-dark ghost just to play with the idea of a ghost. But we could do some like plants growing to the side. Because we do have plants, don't we? No, I thought we had some in the bookcase. I kind of love that. I am wondering about pumpkin. And I'm going to cut out this hand and point to it. So that would work. And then if we had another leaf coming down there, I think that's kind of what we're going to do. So let me start by gluing this onto here. That's what we're going to do. Because that way we can get started and start decorating things. Now, yes, this has embossing powder on it, so it's going to glow. Just accept that now. If you see a spider web or a spider, then it's probably embossed with glow-in-the-dark embossing powder. That's just the way I'm going this year. I want lots of glow-in-the-darks. I just think it's fun. And I love adding playful elements to pieces that I'm making. I just, you know, I think that's fun. I mean, just because we're adults doesn't mean we can't get playful, especially when crafting, you know. I think those of us who do craft, I think we do have a kind of, we still have that inner child in us, which I personally think is why we love to craft. We love to be creative, because there is that little child in all of us who's like, oh, this is so exciting, this new thing. And I think that's a wonderful thing personally. So make your projects fun, interactive. I mean, it's a bit different. Well, I don't know. I was still making creepy crafty things as a kid. I've said this before, but you know, my favorite character was the Count from Sesame Street, and one of my very first books as a child, when I was probably about 6 or 7, was The Last Vampire and the Little Ghost. Like, I've always been into things like this, so you know. Oh, also I wanted to bring in, I have this little bit of wall left, and I thought it might be quite good because it kind of looks like the brickwork is coming through the actual plaster. That's what I thought it looked like. So that's what I wanted to do. Now, again, you don't have to add something like this if you don't have it. Let's have the plant coming up here. Oh, that works perfectly on there, because it kind of mimics the round piece. Yeah, it looks like brickwork's coming through. Love it! Which means we might be able to add some moss. Ooh. This tag is not going to close. So yeah, even if it's something like this that's Halloween or spooky, I think it's why I love Pastelween, which is the sort of thing that you really would not think that I would enjoy, because as it says on the tin, it's pastel colours for Halloween. But there's something really fun about working in Pastelween, And it might be just because I usually love to go like really sort of Victorian goth and have creepy things. But who could hate a pink spider? Maybe in real life you might look at it and go, why is that spider pink? That's worrying. But in a piece of crafting, I mean, I think we could all adore a pink spider in a piece of crafting. I also really like pastel Christmas sometimes. I'm more of a traditional girly. Like, I really do love reds and greens at Christmas time. I really love how that looks. Oh my goodness, it really does look like the brickwork is coming through. Yes! That's worked out much better than I thought it was going to. Right, let's bring this back over. Oh, yes. That screams tunnel to me. Do you know what this screams though? Inking. I might actually have to go on with my Stabilo pencil because there's just too much white here and I can't have it. And if I go on with my, this is the Aqua Stabilo pencil, where is, needed to grab my water and a paintbrush because the ink's just not going to get into there enough. And it's just too bright. So I'm going to add a bit of shading with the Stabilo, which I've used on here anyway. So I actually came on with the Stabilo and went down the lines in the wood and just very gently. So I literally did, let me show you, I literally just went down the lines with the pencil like that and then came on with my paintbrush that I've just thrown to the floor and then just like inked down them. And then when they dry kind of clearer. But they then give this bit more shading and stuff. So yeah, I did that with all of these as well, just to add a bit more dimension to the back of these. So anyway, we'll let that, I'm going to dry that, I think. So it's basically dry, but do you see how this is kind of just blended a bit more with the wood? So you can see where I've added it in different places. Okay, and what I'm also going to do while I'm at it, that needs trimming. And then this needs inking. Where did I put it? Right, I cannot find my black set. There it is. It's in the wrong place. Coming on. I just want to make sure these corners are definitely inked up before I put on this. So we're going to attach this now. Oh, love it. It's actually come together much better. I just had a very rough idea that I wanted to do a passageway and make the brickwork look like it's coming out and maybe add one or two things to it. But in reality, I didn't know if it was going to look the way I wanted it to look. I didn't know if the brickwork would look okay, if this would look okay. I was wondering if it was too light. So I'm super pleased with how it's kind of come together. Right, we're going to have to put this on bit by bit. Okay, put that down. And then I have to be careful because this has distress oxide. So where I put the glue, if I rub it, it actually brings away some of the colour of the inked piece that I have there. Okay, I really need to press all that down. I'm glad I roughed up just those edges. Makes it look a bit better, which is what we want. Still going to make my clock and then kind of add it as an extra somewhere. I think that needs trimming. Hold on. Let me get my trimmer. I think it needs a bit of a trim, just that edge. Just a little bit. Yeah. Okay, good. Oh, I really do love it. And I'm glad I came in with the Stabilo there, because you can just see. I think that needs a bit more glue just there. We might, yeah, just there. It doesn't matter. Why is that coming off? Is that ripping? Sorry, hold on. So where I wet it, it has ripped a little bit, but I'm not too worried. I could add some faux, where's the lid to my glue gone? I could add some faux tape, should I want to. Thank goodness I have spare lids. Keep them in this little spiderweb tin pot. If you watched, oh, I just found it. If you watched Creep on June last year, I was gifted that by my friend, but I keep a load of spare lids for my glue in there, just in case. And sometimes you really do need it. What about bringing in another plant of some sort? Because this area just feels a little bit bereft of something. Maybe that one. We're going to bring in that one. So I was going to bring in the pumpkin, but I don't know if I want the pumpkin. I know I was going to do a spider web there, wasn't I? From the floor. I could still do that. I could still add that. Because I could just trim a little bit. So that's okay. And yeah, I could add some faux tape onto there. It doesn't have to be literal, does it? So, as I've said before, because I can get on my own head about things being absolutely literal. Right, let's just trim this little bit. And we could come in with a spider web just down there. Honestly, don't know if it needs it. I don't think it needs it. We'll come back to that. Let's cut out the hand from this piece. The hand going to go down the tunnel. Down into the dark. No, I mean, I wouldn't be. I used to, when I was at university, I actually did tour guiding locally at this very, very old fort that had tunnels underneath it. So I used to do that at the weekends and things. And for Halloween, they would do... I don't know if I want it. I could do some writing. They would do trips down into the tunnels. I do kind of love the pumpkin, but I don't know if we need it. I don't know, guys. Let's bring the spiderweb back in now. I've got the hand. No, let's bring this pumpkin in. Yeah, we used to do the tunnels. I think I prefer that pumpkin because it's not as bright. And at Halloween time, the tunnels would be all, you know, creepy. And I mean, I didn't like doing tours down them at the best of the times during the day. But at Halloween in particular. As we did the pumpkin this side and the hand there. I think I prefer that. So yeah, that was fun. Not. Go down, down, so many tunnels. And it was always cold down there, even in the middle of summer, because they were meant to be, they would keep like powders and things for explosives and things in the tunnels. So, you know, it was always cold down there, and it had these kind of stone walls that they'd partially plastered, but over time that obviously comes away. But I never wanted to do the Halloween events because I don't like spooky stuff like that. Okay, I am wondering about bringing in a little bit of faux tape just there, some of the Tim Holtz one, because mine is, I haven't made any new one yet. Again, I need to take some time, just like I said to you guys, to actually make some faux tape. I might even use this one, because if I show you the back of it, it's kind of got the different gradients on there, and I think that works better. Right, I'm going to glue this, so if I don't like it, we're stuck with it, basically. So yeah, I love the historical aspect, but I did not enjoy the going down there during Halloween aspect. Okay, that'll work. That'll work. It's okay. It is okay. Just a little bit of tape. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, does it? This really needs to go on here. Okay. Now this is super chunky, and the bookcase kind of moves a little bit. If I'd used a magnet, it would have been much better idea, but it doesn't matter. And I know we can see part of that, and now that looks like that's ripped too. Okay. Well, worst comes to worst, I can put some tape that side. Most of it's attached. It's because I wet it and now I'm moving it. I should have used a thicker card, but now I think I need some words. Okay, so I have a few different words. In here, I realised I thought putting a spider web down here might be a good idea. I knew there was something else missing. You just know when you know. So we're going to do that. Down here. Let me just get my cloth. And we haven't added an actual spider yet. So that's a thing. Let me grab a spider. Did I not pull any out? How absolutely ridiculous of me. There you are. Come back, come back. Okay, where are my tweezers? Little spider coming down. Yeah, definitely. That's why I left that part of the spider web. This is actually open because I knew I wanted to attach a spider somewhere under there, so that it really does look like it's coming out of the web. And again, let's get my little cloth. Let's get all that glue. And these glow in the dark, so you're going to be able to see that spider really well then. Is this coming up? No, it should be fine. Okay, so I have a few things. So I've got in the darkness, curiosity fully awake. I don't believe I'll feel any creepier. Or we just have in the darkness, curiosity fully awake. I need to ink around these. That's what I need to do. With a little bit of, what's it called? Have it across there. Sorry, ground espresso, I'm thinking. So, because I'm thinking, it kind of got lost. My thought got lost as I was thinking. Let's do this. In the darkness, curiosity fully awake. Maybe I won't have it felt any creepier. Maybe I'll just have this. Like so. Yep. I like that. Let's tear this piece a bit more so it's more scraggly. Perfect. And instead of his, we're just going to cut his out. We don't need that. We just want curiosity fully awake. Yep. Yep. And I also stamped out a couple of things. I don't know if I'm going to use them, but I guess we're going to see. Great. So we've still got the stone wall. We don't really see that bit as well as I'd hoped, but that's okay. Where is... That's what I'm ever saying. Where is... Just need a fine liner to go around these. And I'll have to put some glow in the dark into the pumpkin's eye and mouth. So we have that. And then I had these pieces. And I just got rid of it. So I used Tony's Halloween stamp set, CBT 0031. And I used Trespassers, Caution and Warning. And I was thinking of putting it over this side. Kind of like so. That's what I'm thinking of doing. But I want to kind of do this almost like this. Almost like someone's nailed it to the door. Warning, trespassers. This is far too perfect. To trim this a little bit more. And then rough this up a little bit. I thought it could go down here. What do we think? I mean, I kind of like it. So let's bring in the black soot. So we're going to do that. Let's scrunch this edge up a little bit more too. Let's do this. Warning, trespassers. At an angle like that. We bring it down. No, there's too much down there. I need more in the middle. Okay, we're going to do that. And then we're going to add a tiny bit of moss because I think that will just bring this whole thing to life. And I don't think I'm going to add any splatters. I mean, seriously, who am I? I don't think I'm going to add splatters to this because there's splatters on the front. So I don't think we need it on the inside. And what I may actually do is add another spider dangling from the trespassers bit. Come on, spiders, where are you? Come on, there's a big one. I don't want the big one. Ah, there's a little one. You will do. Do 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 do. Do do do. Just kind of. That's where one of the other holes is, isn't it? Oh, it's over there. Okay, that's okay. Yep, that's what I need. Let's move all this off here. That's what I need. And then, yeah, a little bit of moss, I think, will do the trick. Where is my glue book? I need to pad off. I'm putting too much glue on things. Just like that. Okay, so I like that. And yeah, just a little bit of moss in places. So we're going to do it kind of here, up here, and there. And then we're going to do a little bit kind of here. I think that'll work well. Maybe not right in the corner, actually. Maybe a smidge. Okay, that will do. Let's bring in the moss. Actually thinking about it, let's bring it down. So there. Okay, let's bring in the moss. Dun, dun, dun. I've got some darker one in here. That would work quite well. So let's bring that in. And it literally is all about, as you've seen me doing other ones, don't need much of it at all. Just need little bits. Just little bits in places. Just to bring it to life. Oh, and we still have to do the clock. So let me finish off the moss. Okay, so you can see the moss, and it just adds a little bit of something. Now I wanted to add a word on here, so I found the word charged with foreboding because we had a word on the other one, and I thought, let's just add all the words today. Let's just do it. And add them, and then we're going to make our clock. So that's what we're going to do. I am so pleased with how this has come together. I really did not know how it was going to turn out and whether I was going to be happy with it or not, but I am really happy with it. So this is going to go here just like the other one did. So it's a different sentiment, obviously, but it adds to the story, and it also replicates the one that we had on the other bookcase here. So on this one we had Remember the Tale, and then we have Charged with Foreboding. Okay, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Do need to colour this in. Okay, perfect. I coloured that in. That was bothering me. Right, let's make our clock. Now, I'm going to use this Tim Holtz, the Curiosities one, TH94271, because it has some clocks in it. It's the one I've been using the locks from, so I thought, why not? And then I need a little piece of black card. And I know I had black card. I put it to one side. So that's most annoying. Maybe I'll just use this and use the back of it. And I think I want this one. This one looks quite similar to this one there. Again, I'm not going to worry too much about the actual time bit. Actually, do you know what I need to do first? What am I doing? What am I doing? We're going to put a hole in the middle of this. And we are going to bring over the hands. Now, the hands are slightly too big. I'm really not bothered, is the truth. This actually could go to 1031. It actually could. I'm putting a little brad through. There would be 10. And there would be 31. Actually, hold on. Because if I get it just right, I can, hold on. Sorry, I can't see the little eyelet bit. These are so tiny. The reason I couldn't see it is because one of them was outside. And that is 1031. Oh, it actually works. And now I'm going to glue this to the backing. I'm wondering about adding, before I do that though, a little tab. If I have one of these as a tab. Just thinking here. This might work. Okay. You'll see what for, if you haven't already guessed. Okay, and that's going to have to go under here, but I need to cut this out. So if I cut this roughly and cut this bit first. Oh my gosh, that was too close. Again, thank goodness for inking. Is this too thingy? Do you know what? We're going to bring that off. And we're going to do this again. This bit really needs to be stuck down, but not the top bit. No, well, I suppose the hands can move. Thank goodness we can put it at the 1031. Well, let's do this again. This is taking a long time for a tag that's basically quite simple. Any hoo. I'm going to ink all that up in a minute, but what I need is to unstick this, and we're going to put this through here. I mean, I could have added a chain, couldn't I? We could still add a chain. It's fine. Don't overthink it, Belle. Right, we're going to add that, and then I'm going to come on with the back, ink up the whole of the back. Need that brown. So these do move, but you can get it to 1031, and I swear, guys, that was completely by accident. So I want to add a bit of tab onto this. I think I'm just going to go for this colour because it looks quite stone coloured. And where'd the scissors go? Honestly, everything just wants to disappear today. Actually, I've done quite well. Most things have stayed where they're supposed to be. But not now. Now they're like, aha, we're playing you now. You can't find us. That's why as crafters we always need backups. I'm just going to really add a bit more colour to this because I want it to look more. Do you see how much more like that? That now looks from, where was the original piece? This is what it first looked like, and now it looks better. We need to bring that on. Lots of this brown. Okay. And that's going to go here. And we're just going to have that simple one. I'm going to go stitch it. Okay, so I've added an eyelet to that. We've got a little bit of a chain. I'm going to grab my tinier little loops for the links. And we're going to, I hate doing this on camera, you all know that, and with the way my coordination's been, this is probably not what I should be doing on camera, but hey ho, going to, and there we go. So it doesn't say it's a pocket watch, but I kind of wanted it to have that feel, even though it's really big. It's a giant pocket watch for a giant person. And this is going to hang down, so we can actually cut a little bit of this with this. Okay. All right. Okay, hold on. Okay, so let's get another little one for the other end. And then close that up. And then we can add a bowl pin. I almost didn't want a bowl pin. Oh, hold on. We could add, I want to, I've only got safety pins in black, but they are very tiny ones in here. That might work. I wish I had, do I want a safety pin? or do we want to go with a ball pin? The ball pin is more the same colour. Okay, so I thought we might want a safety pin. We don't. We're going to go ball pin. And then that will attach onto there, up near the top. Put that through. Okay. Like so. Okay, guys, and that is it. So let's read it. Oh, I really like how this one turned out. I continue to explore the bookshelf. So here's our original bookshelf. We've taken the yearbook off. Here's the clock. I continue to explore the bookshelf. I find a small, strange looking clock. It's not particularly strange, but it doesn't matter. And I pick it up, moving the dials to 10:31. It is actually at 10:31. And suddenly, the bookshelf begins to shudder and quake and open. It's a secret passage. Dun, dun, dun. If you go into the passage today, you're sure for a creepy surprise. Woo! Oh, I just really like how this one turned out. I know we kind of covered that up, but we can still see some of the brown there that looks like it's part of the wall. And the brickwork there brings in the brickwork here, but you didn't need the brickwork if you didn't want it. In the darkness, curiosity fully awake. But then we have warning, trespassers. Close it up. Put the clock back here so it's literally on the same shelf as it was when we found it. And the candles will glow in the dark, the spiders will glow in the dark, and the pumpkin will glow in the dark. And that is day 15. Oh my goodness, I had no idea where this one was going. And I think it could be one of my favourites. But I keep thinking that. I don't know. So let me know what you think down below. I'll be back again soon for another video. Please do like, subscribe and comment if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, I hope you're having lots and lots of grungy, creepy, crafty fun. Bye for now.